80% of the drugs prescribed to Americans are generic drugs. They have to be approved by the FDA. Usually after years of testing, many of those drugs are made in India, and it turns out a leading manufacturer, Ranbaxy, often skipped the required steps for approval of its generic drugs. Tonight, senior correspondent John Miller introduces us to the man who blew the whistle on his own company.
Why would they do this?
Money, greed.
In 2004, Ranbaxy executive Dinesh Thakur was asked by his boss to investigate allegations of fraud at the company. Thakur quickly uncovered disturbing problems with the data required by the FDA to prove the effectiveness of Ranbaxy drugs.
The data is important because the FDA or other agencies globally look at that information to give you marketing authorization to sell that drug.
That it works, that it's safe.
That's right. We start getting into the files, and lo and behold, we find that none of that exists in the first place.
What did that mean?
It means that we've gotten approvals from the FDA to sell drugs that were based on no data or data that was fraudulent.
Thakur found Ranbaxy's drugs for illnesses like AIDS, heart problems, and infections had no proof that they were effective. His findings were presented to Ranbaxy executives in 2005, but he says nothing was done.
I was dumbfounded. I've worked in this industry for 12, 11 years at that point in time and never seen such callous behavior.
He points to an incident where his young son was prescribed a Ranbaxy antibiotic for a fever.
He kept getting worse. So we got another company's formulation, and the fever went away.
You're giving your own baby a drug that you essentially find out after the fact doesn't work, maybe because there was nothing in it that was designed to work.
Correct.
What did that say to you?
I had to do something.
In 2005, Thakur blew the whistle to the FDA. Their investigation found Ranbaxy had a persistent pattern of submitting untrue statements. On at least 15 new generic drug applications, auditors found over 1,600 data errors. The FDA concluded that their drugs were potentially unsafe and illegal to sell. In 2008, the FDA prohibited Ranbaxy from shipping drugs into the U.S. from 2 Indian plants, but the company continued to sell drugs in the U.S. from its other Indian facilities. Then, in 2011, while one arm of the FDA was investigating Ranbaxy for serious criminal violations, another arm of the FDA was approving the company for the exclusive rights to make the generic version of one of the most popular pharmaceuticals of all time, Lipitor. A decision by the FDA that reportedly earned the company $600 million in the first 6 months. FDA officials declined to be interviewed on camera, but told us at the time Ranbaxy was approved to make generic Lipitor, the company met FDA standards. The federal investigation, based on Dinesh Thakur's allegations, led Ranbaxy to plead guilty to 7 felonies. Ranbaxy was bought by a new owner in 2008, the Japanese firm Daiichi Sankyo. The new owners declined an interview, but in a statement said the company has invested more than $300 million in infrastructure, plant upgrades, and training, and will take all measures to keep facilities in full compliance to all regulations.
But it's a very long and lonely process.
For his role in exposing the company, Thakur was awarded $49 million by a U.S. court. Knowing what you knew at the time, would you have taken a Ranbaxy drug yourself?
No.
What about now?
I wouldn't.
John's joining us now in our Washington bureau. John, you can often see the manufacturer on the drug bottle label. If you find these drugs in your medicine cabinet, what should you do?
Well, Scott, when I looked in my medicine cabinet, I found that I had Ranbaxy drugs. Now, despite the actions that they have taken against the company, the FDA says patients shouldn't stop taking Ranbaxy drugs. But if they're concerned about their prescriptions, they should talk to their doctor.